today we're going to go on a retro CEX mission. I'm going to see if there's anything that jumps out, but I am determined. I know I'm going to get a milestone. N64 150. Let's go. First up, we go to North Shields, and as always, there's a rule of rose. Always a sign of a CEX. Now, I actually was on my way to Tynemouth Market, which I had a tip off that there was a few video games. I didn't find any, unfortunately, but hey, we went to North Shields anyway. And yeah, they do have Mortal Kombat for the N64. I do need number 4 and I do need the trilogy, so that is something I was tempted to pick up. But I had my thoughts on something else, something that I actually didn't see. That Kirby Dream Land was absolutely perfect, pristine condition. However, I don't know if I've still got my old box from when I was a kid. Carmageddon N64 box. I was tempted, but then again, it's Carmageddon 64. I own it. Do I want it twice? The answer is no. Kid Icarus is one that is steadily going up in price quite fast as well. And Queen on the Switch. Not really sure why that was behind a glass case. It was only a £10 game, but hey, it's Queen on the Nintendo Switch. A few nice little gems, but nothing really that I was kind of felt was worth going out of my way for, if I'm perfectly honest. Let's have a look at the Switch game, shall we? Now, there is quite a lot of few games. Persona is on my list to pick up, but I don't know, I'm not urgently needing it. It's one that I kind of feel is still available brand new, so I don't really need to feel like I need to rush and pick it up anytime soon. And Pokemon, I do need the Pokemon games. Dragon Ball Z Kakarot as well is there. It's one that I didn't pick up, but I probably should have. GameCube games, and you know what? The more time goes on, I am wanting to pick up a few more of these GameCube games, especially some of these ones where I missed them over time. I do want Lord of the Rings, I think it's called The Third Age. Defender, that was one that I was always had my eye on. I don't know what it is, it always looked good. I probably should have picked it up here, but nope, I was silly and kind of just left it. There was a game that I do pick up at one point, but I do end up putting it back. But yeah, there's a reason for it. Epic Mickey is one on my list. Ghostbusters, the video game. Now, this is one I've not seen in a long time, but as you will see, I will see it many, many times on my journey today. Hades, honestly, I probably should have gotten Hades. It's on my list, but I kind of keep thinking, oh, it'll go down in price, it'll go down in price. It never did. But yeah, it's one on my list I do want to pick up eventually. There wasn't a huge amount that I kind of really felt I needed, but there was a lot of really nice choices here. Nier Automata, a very good addition that doesn't work on the Nintendo Switch 2 apparently, and 2 Point Campus in the background. Not gonna lie, North Shields was a little bit of a bust. Now, there was a game that I went there for, but I just didn't see it on the shelf. And I don't know what happened, but it's still saying that it's in stock, but I just couldn't find it anyway. That was Jurassic Park on the Game Boy, and that was completely boxed. I don't have much nostalgia for the Jurassic Park games, but I love the movie, and it was one that I really wanted to add on my collection, condition dependent. I was going to be a little bit of a kind of a, oh well, we'll get a token game just to kind of make the trip out there for worthwhile, because if I'm honest, Tynemouth Market, there wasn't anything for me either. And I picked up Burnout on the GameCube. However, when I walked around, I discovered something. The box for Burnout was absolutely demolished. And while it's only a £5 game, I'm not going to spend £5 on something that is absolutely damaged. I can find that game just about anywhere. Oh well, next time we'll go to Newcastle. I'm sure we'll find something there. Second CEX of the day, and we are in Newcastle. Now, this is the Newcastle upon Tyne one, and I've bought a fair few things over the last few years in this one. A lot smaller than it used to be. It used to be one further down the road, and that was absolutely beautiful, and you used to get so many rare things. But this one, not so much. There are 2 in Newcastle. We'll see the second one later on. Another Rule of Rose, again, a sign of a CEX. This one doesn't have as much in as it has recently. They have had a Nagano Olympics for quite some time for the N64, and it's only £2 loose, and I kind of am tempted to buy it in the box. I don't know, I'm not really buying everything box, just the games I really, really love, but I don't know. I know it's only £2, it's like £10 extra to get with the box, but I feel like that's fair enough. Switch is kind of light on its feet this time. Digimon Survive is a title that I've seen so many times, and I think it was fairly cheap on Amazon. It might be fairly expensive later on, but I'm not really fussed. I love Digimon, but Digimon Survive was supposedly not very good. Another Ghostbusters game, and yeah, I don't know. This one's one that I feel like it's going to be expensive later on. It's a port of, or it's a remaster of the PS3 game, which I didn't play. I played the Wii one years ago. But yeah, another anime game. I always have a look at the anime games. I know there's a lot of like Otome and V novels and stuff like that. £5 cheaper for the Pokemon Scarlet with Area Zero. Now again, we don't know if this one's going to have the whole thing on cartridge or if some of it's download only. So I'm not willing to try and check it out. Spy Family is on my list. And South Park Fractured But Whole. Now, the PlayStation 4 version of Fractured But Whole came with the first game, the Stick of Truth. I don't think the Switch one does. I don't know if it ever did, so I'm kind of holding out on that. I think it's one that I will pick up eventually, however. Not a huge amount of stuff that I'm really after. I'm just kind of staring at this point and kind of like, yeah, is there anything I want? But yeah, Bayonetta. Oh, we're going to have a discussion about Bayonetta at some point, but I need Bayonetta 2 and Bayonetta 1. I've got 3. It's either a case of buying number 2 pre-owned or buying a very expensive new one and downloading Bayonetta, or buying it pre-owned and buying the first one physically from PlayAsia and getting it imported. Then I've got all 3. The weather is starting to turn a little bit bad now, so we'll head to Newcastle Granger Street. I've actually just been into the market and picked up something rather unique. Always somebody stood in this corner, I don't know why. But yeah, PlayStation section is looking rather healthy there. Some very nice titles, including Parasite Eve. That's one that I definitely need to pick up at some point. A lot of nice N64 games. I really want Mario Golf with the box, but I see a nice little box game that I do not own, and I think needs to be number 150. Carmageddon N64 again, and Fighter's Destiny. Fighter's Destiny is an interesting one. I don't own it yet, but I kind of want to get with the manual. It's not an expensive game, even with the manual and the box, but yeah, it's one that I am looking at picking up. A quick spy into the PlayStation 5 section, and honestly, there's not really anything I'm actually after, so we'll quickly look after the Nintendo Switch. Atelier is a game that I really want to play at some point. I got number 3 on the PlayStation 5, but I've never played it because I don't own the 1 or 2. Jurassic Park, I love the idea of that little Jurassic Park set. The third Ghostbusters game. You know what? I think it's time. I think we need to get it into the shelf. It's a bit of an omen. I've never seen this game for so long, and I've seen it in every single CEX I've came across today. Not much else. I probably should have picked up that Final Fantasy 12. I am trying to get a full Final Fantasy set on the Nintendo Switch. But yeah, it wasn't one that I was really urgently needing. A lot of other nice little titles like Pokemon. I do need Rescue Dungeon. I need Pokemon Shield. I need Pokemon Diamond and Pearl. And I need Let's Go Eevee and Violet. Minecraft Dungeon is a weird one. I saw a few different types of it, but I don't know which one's the one that I probably want to get. I think it's the most expensive one. But it's not what I'm really urgently after. But I think the one is, I will need to pick it up at some point because I think it's going to get expensive quite quickly. Not really much else that I'm kind of seeing here. Obviously, I knew that I wanted to get that Ridge Racer. 2 Point Hospital, I want the Jumbo Edition. I want that's got a little bit extra of DLC, and it's like £2 difference in CEX, so it is one that I am trying to pick up. But for now, I think it's just Ghostbusters. So you guys saw in the footage, you saw as soon as I panned over to that, you guys knew which game I was going to be picking up, and that is Nintendo 64 150th game. Now, I'm not going for a complete box collection of N64 currently. I might upgrade a few over the course of the next few months, but I want to get a full collection, cartridge or boxed, and number 150 had to be something special. Now, I did want Mario Golf, and they did have it in that second CEX, but I want Mario Golf boxed, and I made a compromise. Another fantastic title caught my eye, and you guys know which one it is. Ridge Racer 64. Now, Ridge Racer to me was always an arcade game. It was always a game that I saw on PlayStation or saw on Sega, and I was quite surprised when it came out on the N64. And I always wanted to try it out. It got rave reviews from all of the official Nintendo magazines, N64 magazine, ONM, all of them. They all gave it glowing reviews, but I just never saw it in the shops. And so as soon as I saw this one, I knew this one had to be in my collection, boxed. And honestly, what a nice addition it is. Now, it's not in absolutely perfect condition. The manual is a little bit worse for wear, but the cartridge is clean. The box is pretty much the best you're going to get from a 30-year-old boxed N64 game. I'm not going to go too overboard in terms of being a bit snobby. I want them to look nice. If it's completely ripped and damaged, I'm not going to pick it up, but I want it to look nice enough. And honestly, I can't think of many other games that I can think is better for a 150th celebration. For me, the Nintendo 64 was a weird mishmash of ideas. It broke the mold. It gave us stuff like Mario 64, it gave us Ocarina of Time, it gave us GoldenEye, three of the best games of all time. It also had a lot of weird and niche titles such as Tonic Trouble, Wetrix, Tetrasphere, but it also had a ton of racing, including Ridge Racer 64, Beetle Adventure Racing, Mario Kart and Diddy Kong Racing. And honestly, I love this console. This is my favourite console, or at least one of my favourite consoles of all time. And I'm so happy to at least get something great for 150, because I was putting off buying games until I got something good. I can go out and buy games until we start creeping around 200, and then I think that's when we're going to try and get that Mario Golf box. But honestly, I'm so happy to own this one. Ridge Racer 64 was always one that wanted to be in my collection, and I'm so glad it's finally in there. But we're going to have to try and find something good for this shelf. The other game I picked up I think is synonymous with this retro game hunt, and while this isn't necessarily a retro game, it is a remaster of one, or at least it's one that, you know, is nearly 20 years old, and that is Ghostbusters the video game remastered. Now, this is a 29 remake of a 2009 game that released on the Wii, the PlayStation and the Xbox, and if I'm perfectly honest, I played this on the Wii. This is essentially Ghostbusters 3 before Ghostbusters Afterlife and Ghostbusters Frost Zone released, and if I'm honest, you can tell that's what the idea was. The original script has been adapted from a script that was originally going to be the third Ghostbusters movie, and you can see a lot of familiar faces. You play as a new Ghostbusters recruit, and you need to train with the legendary 4 original actors. That's right, they got the original actors back in for this remake of a remaster of this third title, and you go Ghostbusting. If you love the movies, I definitely recommend this one. This one's getting to be a little bit older now. This is now a 6-year-old game. It is one that I played a little bit more than I maybe would have liked to, but I think it's one that I think over time, especially with Ghostbusters being a franchise that they just keep building onto, I think that this is going to be one that's going to be fairly expensive, and it's a good game. It's not the best game, but it is a good game. Not quite Luigi's Mansion, not quite Phasmophobia, but if you want a Ghostbusters game where you're a Ghostbuster, this is a good shout. Now, off camera, I also visited that little retro gamer shop that is in the Granger Market in Newcastle, and this is a treasure trove of retro game items. If you're in Newcastle, you need to make sure that you go to there. And the only reason I didn't do any video on it is because it's basically a market stall. I don't really feel comfortable kind of walking in asking to record something when the guy is literally sat. I mean, it's smaller than my room, the entire shop, but it is packed to the brim, and I found a rare game. I found a game that, according to eBay, is about £75 loose, and it's one that I had in my collection. However, I lost it when moving. But I've still got the box, so I can now complete the game once again. I picked this up for £25, and this title is Medabots. Holy Medaroli. Now, Medabots and me go way back. Back when it was Pokemon, back when Dragon Ball, back when it was Yu-Gi-Oh! Medabots was another one of those kind of gotta catch them all monster battle and simulators, except this time we've got a mix between Pokemon and Robot Wars. So Robot Wars was an old TV series in which people would build robots and use them to battle each other. Medabots is very much the same. It is an anime based on a very similar concept, and it's an anime that I absolutely adored through the years, to the point that I even bought the Blu-rays for them. Medabots RPG is a Game Boy Advance JRPG based loosely on the Medabots anime. I know this is all Super Nintendo, I know there's all Game Boy games based on Medabots, but there was a few other Medabots games for the Game Boy Advance. There was like what was kind of like basically like a battle arena one where you go and fight each other, but this one is a full-on story JRPG with about 50 hours of content. You start off with Metabee, the protagonist's Medabot from the show, and there's an alternative version because of course Pokemon existed. You have to have two more than one version of every single game at that point, and we started off with Rakusho. This is the Metabee version, and basically you battle other people. You've got to destroy the parts of the robot, and at the end you will win them back. You will win them parts from a robot. So it's basically kind of like play for keepsies robot battling simulator game. It is a really good one. It hasn't aged perfectly, but it's a rare one. It's one of those ones I think it got an American release or maybe got a European release. It didn't get like a full-on English, weird full-on release. It's like a very weird one, but it is one that is always costing expensive amounts of money. Slightly obscure, it got a Wii U release of all things on the Virtual Console, but it's one that's probably never going to get a re-release, sadly, because of the rights. So that's 3 games added to the collection. One for the Nintendo Switch greatest collection that I'm trying to build, 150th N64 title, and holy moly, a Medabots find in this day and age. I am absolutely chuffed because these games, there's something special about them. There's always something great about them, but honestly, I am so happy to pick them up. What have you guys been picking up? Let me know in the comments, and as always, I'll see you on the road. See you later.